Hello, hello.
Hey,
guys.
welcome to Meet the Gatti's
Welcome back to
Yeah.
Meet the Gattis after a few months.
Yeah. No.
More than a few.
Yeah, I'm like, is it more than a
A
few?
few sounds better though. We've had a lot going on.
A lot.
So, yeah.
A lot.
There's that too.
Yeah, there's that. So, if you have not heard already, we have some news.
Yep, some sad news.
Some sad news. And the sad news is that the Gatti's are getting a divorce.
Change my reality.
It's really sad. It's painful. It was a decision that we, wrestled with,
Yeah.
discussed until we couldn't discuss it anymore.
It consumed us.
It really did. For months.
Yeah.
For months. And we thought about everything. We thought
Yeah.
about...
Yeah, about everything. Our kids are our first priority.
Yeah.
Number one, all day, every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Carl said, it's sad. But, it's sad, but there are a lot of things that it is not as well.
Yes.
It's not contentious.
Right.
It is, it's not ugly.
Yeah.
It hasn't been messy. It
Yeah.
hasn't been horrific
Yeah.
and extreme. And
It is not the typical divorce situation or divorce environment.
Yeah.
Where, I grew up in a divorced home, and, it's different than that.
Yeah.
We've had friends that have grown up in divorce homes that, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Yeah.
What it is it's been peaceful, but just because it's been peaceful doesn't mean it hasn't been painful.
Right.
And so we are absolutely walking through the reality of, separating our lives and struggling to figure out what it means to still choose family without choosing each other romantically.
Yeah.
And that's been a struggle, not only because we're dealing with our emotion and our pain and our disappointment and shock and all that kind of thing, but we're also dealing with other people's emotion, shock, disappointment, all of that kind of thing. That
Anger.
anger,
all the grief.
stages of grief.
All the grief stuff.
And that's been an interesting process. But this video specifically, because we are basically going to do a series of videos talking about,
Yeah, bringing you into our journey,
yeah,
our process, how we came to this decision, and what life looks like from here on.
yeah. It's going to be interesting because, you're going to get to see the real deal. And a part of the reason why we wanted to do this, part of the reason why we really wanted to be vulnerable and open up, and is because there are other people who may find themselves in the situation that we are in, and hopefully this will encourage you, just because it doesn't look like what
You thought it would look like
doesn't mean that it can't be good.
beautiful still. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, and another thing, we aren't doing this, we aren't
Yeah.
sharing our journey with you because we feel like we have to.
yeah,
We don't feel like we
We
have
don't have
to
to.
explain ourselves.
At all.
We're not doing it to prove anything.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, like I said, we'll get into more detail, but when we were coming to making our decision and we were doing, we were looking in a lot of places for answers, and we found very little.
Very little.
And it was really hard. And so, we feel like we can add something there.
Yeah.
So we want to read you a letter. This is a letter that Kyle and I crafted to send to our family and close friends, basically letting them know what was going on. So a part of this letter Kyle wrote, and then part of it I wrote. This first part is Kyle's part, okay? We want to be vulnerable, open, and honest, and allow you in on the journey our family is going through. As you may or may not know, I came out of a homosexual lifestyle in 2004. There were a lot of things that led to my decision to enter a homosexual lifestyle, but for the sake of time, I'll talk about my journey after. I went straight into a reparative therapy program that was a part of Esthers Ministries, which claimed to help gay people be straight. My hope was to get rid of the feelings and attraction that I felt for men. I had been told that you could get rid of the feelings and have a shot at a normal life with a woman in a heterosexual context. The communication that I received was, if you work hard and deal with your issues, pray, fast, resist temptation, and manage behaviors, and if you are vulnerable with other men and develop healthy male relationships, eventually the desires will leave. So with all of my heart, I committed to the above in the hopes of God changing me and ultimately me finding the freedom I had always prayed for, even as a young boy. I spent a year in this particular program and then enrolled myself in a discipleship program / Bible school to further commit to what I had believed would bring freedom. I had never fasted and prayed as much in my life. I made vulnerability a habit by letting many pastors, peers, and mentors into my process. I took opportunities to build healthy male relationships along with accountability structures. For the most part, I felt a sense of freedom in being able to manage my behavior. As I got better at managing my behavior and thoughts, I opened myself to the exciting possibility that I was healed enough to enter a heterosexual relationship, which is when Allie came into my life. The leaders in our lives were excited about our relationship, as we were. We moved forward and got married in 2008. In our marriage, we had issues just like any other marriage has, but we had a deep love and commitment to see those issues work through, and we did. But as the years have gone by, my homosexual feelings never left, and there was a huge question mark in my mind of what freedom really looked like. Was managing my sexuality the only answer? Al and I began to ask some hard questions concerning homosexuality and God's stance on the issue. After being married for 8.5 years, we were relatively ignorant about what God had to say on the topic. We found different resources that at the very least caused us to really want to do some deeper research, and at the most caused us to question whether this was another topic that the church had misinterpreted, like slavery and a woman's role in the church. We wrestled through our new understanding of what the Bible had to say about this topic for a few months, but we've wrestled through the traditional mindset for the length of our marriage. We both felt frustrated at the lack of answers in the church. Through all of this, we surrounded ourselves with mentors, peers, and a psychologist to help us navigate this uncharted territory. We were both holding out for a miracle and practically searching for a way to make our marriage work. In the last 8.5 years, we have tried everything we could, and Kyle has tried even more in the years before we got married. At the end of the day, we know we have done all we can do. And as heartbreaking as it is to say, Kyle and I have decided to end our marriage. It has been an excruciatingly painful decision. In the midst of this, we choose family. We know it isn't going to look traditional, and we are in the process of grieving that. We have cried many tears and have thought through a variety of different scenarios. We are right in the middle of our raging storm, but we feel a great deal of peace and comfort knowing that Jesus is with us. In some ways, we feel reduced to ashes and like our dreams have been burned to the ground, but we are holding on to each other and to God's promise that He will give us beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, and a spirit of praise for heaviness. We are clinging to Jesus, trusting in God and following the leading of the Holy Spirit. We know that you will have so many questions, preconceived ideas, and opinions about this topic, and you are entitled to them. But we are asking for those of you who really love us to ask the Holy Spirit to lead you into all truth concerning this topic. I have been guilty of regurgitating the opinions of respected leaders on this and other topics without studying for myself and asking the Holy Spirit to lead me into all truth. If you are anything like me, it is easier to go with the flow and not rock the boat or ask questions. I have avoided certain questions for too long, knowing that they may have a very personal effect on my life. Now that you have heard from both Kyle and I's heart, we also wanted to share a few things individually. This is from Kyle. To everyone who is devastated by this news, I want you to hear from me that I am deeply sorry for your pain. I wish this could have ended differently and that I could give Allie the happily ever after she deserves. I never thought in a million years that my marriage would end, let alone like this. I swore I would never get divorced because I knew how it affected me as a child. But as Allie and I have talked about still putting our family first, in the midst of this undesirable situation, we both have peace that our children will still thrive and be the world changers that we know they will be. Through the course of this journey, I have gotten the chance to reflect. They say hindsight is 20/20, and here are some thoughts that I have. We as Christians have been guilty of taking the words of pastors and speakers as truth without studying what the Lord is actually speaking. I think that has produced not only a lazy Christianity that I myself have been guilty of, but a dangerous and toxic interpretation of the Bible that is filled with more hate than love. I think that is why Paul commended the Bereans for not taking his word as gospel, but searching out and fact-checking his sermons. Please don't be that Christian and in response to this message reply with your own opinion. What we are asking, if you don't agree, is to search the matter out for yourself, as we have done for the past few months. If you love us and are wondering what you can do to support us through this time, the greatest support that we could get would be for you to love us through your prayers and speak blessings over our family. This is from myself. It has been tremendously painful to let go of Kyle as my husband. At the same time, I'm reminding myself that I still have him as my best friend and father to our children. It would be people's typical response to blame this on Kyle, but I knew about his sexuality before we ever began dating. He has always been 100% open with me and 100% faithful to me, and for that I am forever grateful. When we got engaged, I thought our love for each other could supersede his past and that we could just shove it under a rug, and that he would eventually turn straight. In addition, nobody cautioned us. Nobody suggested that we get extra counseling. They as well thought that his sexuality would change, as if he got to choose it in the first place. I found myself crying out to God many times, asking him why. Why us? Why now? I'm not sure if I'll ever have an answer, but I had to stop asking why and start asking how. How can our family still thrive? How can we be true to ourselves and still show our children what healthy relationships look like? Like we said above, we choose family. Our wedding anniversary will not be a day we regret, but rather a day we celebrate, since this is the day the Gatti'S were established. We will celebrate our 9 years of marriage and the 2 children that have been a part of its fruit. Our children will know that we love them and that we love each other deeply. On our wedding day, our pastor said something that marked us and has defined our actions through this season. When you don't know what to do, love. We have chosen, in the midst of not understanding, having our own doubts, worries, and insecurities, that we are committing to love each other through this process. We know that many of you will not know what to do with this news. We are asking you to let these words define your comments and actions toward us and our family. When you don't know what to do, love. Love, Kyle and Allie Gatti'S. So, that's our story, guys, or part of it.
That's a very small part of it.
It's a part of our story. It's been 3 months since we decided to divorce. Just a few days over 3 months. and a lot has happened in that 3 months. We have processed through a lot. We've had our ups, we've had our downs.
And I think it's important to know that one, we didn't come to this decision lightly. We've said this a couple times, but I think it just is worth repeating. But our children are everything to us, and there is no way that we would make a decision this big without 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times going over and over and seeing how we could do it any other way. And so yeah, if you know the Gatti's, you know that I mean, if you look at our Instagram, our Facebooks, we love our children, and it's just, and another thing that I want to say is that Allie and I are best friends, and I think what a lot of people saw, if this was your experience, I think a lot of people saw our relationship, and they saw the love between us, and that was real. It wasn't fake. It wasn't to put on a show. It wasn't phony. I mean, Allie and I still very much hold those memories dear, and plan on building more memories together. And I just want people to know, like, that wasn't fake. That wasn't phony. That wasn't. And I think that's how that's a piece of what marriage should actually be like. There should be that friendship and that like, hey, I really want to do life with this person and that kind of thing. But that's not the only thing that a marriage should have. There's got to be another thing built into the foundation, which has a big part to do with sexuality. And although we have a love that is deep and authentic, there's another component that we don't have. And I think it took us almost 9 years to figure out that that just wasn't healthy. It's not just about it's not going to work. It's about it's not healthy for either one of us. And we'll get into a lot of our thought process behind some of this, some of the statements that we're making right now. But I guess the point of this is just to kind of fill you in on the why behind the what. The what is divorce. The why is ultimately because there's a piece of our foundation that is missing, and it's just not going to be there because I wasn't created that way. And I know a bunch of you will have questions. Well, if you're gay, how did you have children? Lord.
Yes, we had sex.
Yes. And we'll, potentially at some point we'll unpack our sex life. No, it's fine. It's although it's an annoying question, it's a valid question.
Yeah.
And
we get asked it quite often now.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I want to emphasize is, and what we want to convey to you guys, and I think what people saw, is that we really did have a beautiful marriage. Like how I was saying, like it was authentic, and it was beautiful, and we have great memories. But again, there's just something at the core that was missing. And this isn't something that we could go to counseling for and fix. It's not like we just can't stop arguing and we don't know how to communicate and that kind of thing. And we've had those issues too.
Listen,
so
come on, somebody.
I'm not putting that past. Those are things that we've worked through.
Right.
Those are your typical marriage
Right.
flaws, you know.
Challenges that come up.
But this one again, it's just you can't build a house on a bad foundation. And yeah.
And it's I love that. I love the analogy of, you know, the foundation in the house, because it's like, listen, you know, you can remodel. You can gut a house, right? You can gut a house and completely remodel it. You can knock down walls. You can do all these things to it. And those are the challenges of life, right? Or the challenges in marriage. Like, you know, we can't communicate, or you know, I don't feel loved by this person, and they're not speaking my love language, or, you know, hey, when you do the toothpaste, you do it from the bottom. I need it from the center. Come on, somebody. But foundational things, that's a completely different story. You know, sexuality is a foundational piece of a marriage, and if the foundation is faulty, then I don't care how beautiful the structure of the house is. If the foundation is faulty, it's a matter of time before it crumbles, or you see some significant damages done to the beautiful structure that you put up.
So guys, that is chapter 1 of this new journey for us. It's so hard to not share everything in the first video. I mean, I just wanted to tell you everything now.
Catch you up.
Because it's like, well, I can't tell them this without telling them this.
Right.
It's like,
there's so much.
It's impossible.
There's so much.
That's what we have for this episode.
And we do want you to know that not every episode is going to be as heavy as this. We still very much want to show you our family, because we will be still doing family days together, and you know, Allie and I still plan on celebrating on our anniversary and as a family. So there's a bunch of different things that are coming up that are going to be more light. Right. And we're still gonna, you know, I'm still funny. Come on, somebody. And Allie's still weird.
Can I just say one thing? So today I was thinking about my favorite Meet the Gattis episode.
Oh my gosh.
Which was like the Q&A.
Yes, that's mine too. That's mine
so
too.
Funny. And the part where we talked about
the graves or the death.
Yes,
funerals.
We talked about death and how, like, I want to be cremated and he wants to be buried.
Right.
And he's like, I'm not cremating you. And I'm like, well, I'm going to cremate you.
Poof.
Anyway, so just like, rude. You know, some things, again, if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. Right, so it's like, Kyle, now I can find someone who's going to cremate you.
I'll find somebody who will bury me.
Yeah, so,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to talk him out of it, though.
I don't know. Talk. Anyway. Come on now. Anyway, but we really hope you enjoyed. I don't even know, but at the end of the day, listen, we just we're gonna continue to be us, and
we can't wait to show you guys Evelyn and Nigel. Guys, they're adorable. If you haven't seen them in a while,
up so much.
They're amazing. And
they've grown up so much. Nigel's walking.
They're amazing.
We got to show you so much. Nigel's walking.
Yeah.
He's healthy, strong, mountain climber, man. Climbs on everything.
Yeah.
Evilly is gorgeous as ever, and her curls are just immaculate.
They're luscious.
So, yeah, we're having fun, living life. There's pain in it.
Yeah.
But we are having fun as a family.
Yeah.
So
guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Hey, subscribe to be notified.
Yeah.
Alright guys, adios.
Peace.
I've had some tough times. I've had my share of pain. On the path I walked, my companion's name was shame.